Well, good morning, everyone. We're back in Romans chapter number 8 this morning. And the reason we need to come back here is because he says more. There's more about what's happening in our world and how it affects us and all of that. In fact, we talked about the effect of sin making the whole creation groan yesterday. Well, this morning, I wanted to talk to you about the promise from God that he'll make it all work together for good for those who are willing to walk in obedience to him. And so let me just start off in verse number 28, a very familiar passage. I want to make sure you hear the whole verse, though, because a lot of people just like the first part of it, but they don't see the qualifying part on the other end. And then we're going to read out a few more verses just to give it a little bit better framework so we can better understand just how intimately God is working the details out for the person who is willing to walk in obedience to him. Look what it says in verse number 28. It says, for we know that all things work together, for good to them that love God and to them who are called according to his purpose. Did you catch that? It says he'll work all things together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purposes. That means busy about his work. That doesn't mean, oh yeah, I said I love you, God, and then go do something else. It means being busy about him. There's a lot of people out there that are busy about a lot of things while claiming to love the Lord. And that just means he's just one of many things that they kind of love. But he says that you need to be passionate about this. You need to truly love him and then do what he's called you to do. So watch this, verse number 29, it says, for whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to become conformed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom did he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. Look what he goes on to say. He says, what shall we say then to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? God has it all laid out for us if we're willing to walk in it. Victories, the success from our failures, all the growth and all the different things that we would want to see happen from us. God says, if you'll walk according to my plan and my purposes, these things are laid out before you. Verse number 32, he says, he that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? So he says, I got a plan for you, and I'll give you everything you need to fulfill the plan if you'll walk with God, if you'll walk as a child of God, called according to a specific purpose. Verse number 33, who shall lay anything to the charge of God's elect? It is God that justifieth. So he says, you don't even have to worry about what happens in accusations. You don't have to worry about what happens in the way the world may mock your pattern and plan and the way that you live out the truth of God's word. God promises that if we'll walk with him, he'll even use the tragic circumstances of life to bring honor and glory to him, that it will matter. He doesn't say you won't have them. He says it'll matter. And so I want to encourage you today. Walk with God according to his plan and purposes. He promises that it's all laid out in front of you if you will just walk by faith. And then he says, I will make sure that nothing is wasted. Suffering, heartache, loss, not wasted. The world, the unbelieving world, the believers who won't walk with God do not receive this promise. It is only for the ones who will genuinely turn their heart towards God in love and then live as if that's true. Live a way that pleases God because we love him and because he loved us. He promises to give us all we need to accomplish everything he asks us to do. Now we just have to walk by faith because we love him. I hope that helps you today. Have a great day.